This is J.J. Dillon, the leader of the original Four Horsemen, and I advise you to tune in to InYourHeadOnline.com.
All right, and we are back. All right, we're back, and we're joined by the... Once again, who's making his return here. One of the original Four Horsemen, J.J. Dillon. Welcome to In Your Head.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're doing good.
We're doing good. How are you doing tonight, Mr. Dillon?
I'm doing great.
Absolutely.
And tell everybody that Dillon can be seen at the Tribute to Starrcade, November 19th in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Absolutely.
He's going to manage Tully Blanchard against Dusty Rhodes with Magnum TA in the main event. And for more information, check out CarolinaChampionshipWrestling.com.
I'm really looking forward to that. I've made several appearances in the Charlotte area, and now we're heading south, and of course Spartanburg was a traditional hot spot going back to the days of Jim Crockett Promotions and the heyday of NWA, and of course it's nestled right down there close to Greenville, Anderson, Columbia, all former Circle kind of around it. So a lot of great fans in the Spartanburg area, and really excited about coming back and appearing for Tony Hunter. It was really put together a great event.
Yeah. So how long has it been since you were at ringside with Tony Blanchard?
It's been a while. I made one impromptu appearance a little bit, actually twice this year, but nothing of this magnitude, kind of stepping back in time when you talk about the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and dropping names like Magnum TA. Certainly nothing of this magnitude. And I know that Tully, having talked to him, and I know he was on your program last week, Tully's very intense and serious about everything that he does. He takes nothing lightly. He trains very hard, and at this stage of his life and his career, this match is very, very important to him, and obviously whatever's important to him is important to me.
Yeah. We had Tully on last week, and he one of the things he brought up was he said the Horsemen, it was really something that that the fans made. It really wasn't something that like the company just they made up, and the fans really made it, and then the company got behind it and pushed it.
And I think probably that's why it reached the level of success that it did, because it wasn't the brainstorm of some quote-unquote creative genius that had this idea and created it. It was the fans themselves, and they supported it like they have a few other things in the history of wrestling. That when you talk about 20 years after the fact to be remembered as fondly as we have been, I think that speaks for itself. I've always said the toughest test is the test of time.
Definitely. Do you think that's something they don't do often enough? Listen to the fans and really get behind maybe somebody who's not getting a big push, but the fans just like them anyway.
I think there's been a history of that, and I don't have any names that immediately pop off my head, but a lot of times through my career, I saw where someone would come into a regional area who, was very highly touted because of maybe their track record elsewhere, and they would come in with great expectations, and someone that they didn't expect to reach those levels had something that was that caught the imagination of the fans. And again, just like with the Horsemen, ultimately the fans are the ones that buy the tickets. They're the ones that determine what they really want to see and support. And I think that's why wrestling is the great sport that it is, a form of entertainment, because the fan support is like nothing else in all of sports.
Yeah. Both Intra and I have recently read your book, which was really good.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Let's tell everybody that they should pick it up. You can find out more information on jjdillon.com.
Yeah, you have to go to jjdillon.com, and at the top of the main page you'll see Wrestlers Are Like Seagulls, the banner, and if you click on that, it'll take you right to Crowbar Press, which is Scott Keel's website, where he has other publications, including Lowly's book that he did. But you can see the book, you can read a synopsis of it, the chapter headings, a few excerpts from the book, and I would encourage anybody to go to the comments and reviews section once you get to the book. And I'm most gratified by comments from average fans to my peers in the business, people like Paul Bearer and some others that have been gracious enough to post comments, and people that are historians and writers themselves that have followed wrestling have said some very kind things to them. Very proud of how the book turned out.
Yeah, it was excellent.
I believe you have somebody on the phone now to speak to, ask you a question, Mr. Dillon. Who is this, right? Who are we on the phone with now?
Hurricane survivor Bob from Florida.
Oh, hey Bob. You're on the air with J.J. Dillon. You've got a question for him?
Actually, I do. Mostly about his time in Florida, because I was looking at an old video I have. And I saw him, he actually was in a tag team matchup with Big John Studd as his partner, going up against Terry Allen and Dusty Rhodes. What was it like working around Big John Studd?
I knew John from the early days in his career. I got a break right after I started in the Carolinas, up in the Canadian Maritimes, and Big John Studd was up there early in his career, and he was always big and impressive. And as fate would have it, we often crossed paths with each other as our careers developed, and so when Big John Studd was a huge name with the World Wrestling Federation in the early days. So when I had a chance to work with him in Florida and a chance to manage him for a while, it was a real honor. In fact, if you look at the cover of Wrestlers Are Like Seagulls, I'm standing there in color, but behind me is a wallpaper mosaic of some of the key people that I managed through my career, and if you look, you'll see Big John Studd on there.
Yeah.
One last question before I have to go, because my electric is that bad here. When you took over running WCW after Vince Russo was gone and you and Kevin Sullivan were running it, was the plan in place to make Chris Benoit the world champion?
I think he became the world champion.
I'm sorry, you're asking what was the thought process behind Chris Benoit?
Yeah, because Chris Benoit eventually left the next day after winning the title.
Well, I'm sure only Chris Benoit can answer as to his feelings in fairness to Chris, and I've always had tremendous respect for him as an athlete and as a person. And going into that match, he had indicated that he was giving thought to moving on. So several others, whether it was the power play or what, Dean Malenko, names skip me, 3 or 4 or 5 of them that were disenchanted with how their career had gone, and they came to the promotion and made some outrageous demands. And unfortunately, Bill Bush, he hadn't been in the position very long, but he was smart enough of a businessman, even though he didn't have in-depth wrestling knowledge, to know that if you have a group of wrestlers that come to you and make outrageous demands and give you an ultimatum, if you gave to the ultimatum, ultimately you're just painting yourself into a corner. So he did what he thought was right, and taking that a step further, Chris Benoit, getting a title match and being awarded the championship belt was the business thing to do, and the logic was that if Chris saw that he had that kind of support, and knowing that he was friends with some people who were contemplating leaving, the thought was maybe Chris will realize how much of an opportunity was still there for him, and the hope was that he would stay. And of course, he made his decision to move on, and I respect that, and I still feel the same way about Chris Benoit, a great wrestler and great competitor,
one of the greatest.
He's done extremely well in the World Wrestling Federation.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thanks for the call, Wacko Bob.
Take care, buddy.
You take care there in Florida.
Will do. We're hopefully going to have our electricity on soon, and I'll be back on full time.
All right, bye.
All right, take care.
Yep. I'll tell everybody they want to call it. It's 508-644-8503, and long distance charges may apply.